Welcome back to Next Gen Console Watch, our show following the latest gaming hardware. I'm Jamin Hadfield, and as always, I'm joined by Max Scoville, host of Podcast Beyond, and Ryan McCaffrey, host of Podcast Unlocked. And a couple of years ago, we did an episode looking at the biggest upcoming RPGs. At the time, that included games like Starfield and the Super Mario RPG remake. So we thought it was a good time to revisit the topic, look at the biggest RPGs coming to PS5, Xbox, PC, and even next-gen consoles further down the line. We have a few items that have release dates, few RPGs that have release dates coming this year, and I think the first one up is going to be Crimson Desert. This is the single-player RPG set in the Black Desert Online universe, coming to Xbox, PS5, and PC. Max, I know there's a lot of there's excitement for this one.
People are really excited about it. It looks stunning. This one I think got shown off. 2021 maybe. It's one of those ones we've kind of been waiting for so long that I think some people have sort of stopped paying too close attention. But every subsequent reveal we've gotten of gameplay, everything they've shown off feels like they've shown off another new mechanic or another new area or something like that. And it looks really stunning. My colleague Jada got to play it at Gamescom this year and was really impressed with the breadth of the combat and how much it's got going on, how much you're using all the different buttons on the controller. But at the same time, I know that Simon Cardy did a feature recently kind of voicing some concern that it's going to be just sort of a very wide but shallow experience.
Right.
And there's this sort of, we still don't really know what this game is. So I'm definitely excited to jump into this world and explore it. But yeah, it's a new thing, put it that way.
Yeah, here's hoping it's robust, like something like Dragon's Dogma from Capcom. Now, Ryan, I know you're a fan of the HD 2D art style from Square Enix, and there's a new RPG with that style coming out this summer that I wasn't even aware of until I saw it in the recent Nintendo Direct. It's called The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. Is this one on your radar?
This is the first time hearing of it, Damon, but I'm already interested.
Yeah.
If you say HD 2D, I am already interesed.
It's like
Go ahead.
I think this is an action.
Tell me more.
I think it's an action RPG more in the vein of like Secret of Evermore or Secret of Mana. If you remember those games on the Super Nintendo.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell I did not get up at 6 a.m. Pacific time to watch the last Nintendo Direct, but this looks great. I'm seeing it for the first time right now on screen, just as maybe even some of our audience are. Yeah, visually, this is dialed in. I'm genuinely like automatically interested with HD 2D, but this really, like, I love the art direction here aside from the graphic style. Just this sort of like medieval European. I love the lighting here. I mean, look at that. This looks like it's going to be super fun. So what's this coming out for, Damon?
Coming out for everything on June.
Everything.
Yeah, June 18th. So all platforms.
Perfect.
So, yeah.
That's perfect timing.
I know.
June 18th, there probably won't be anything else out. So that sounds perfect. Sign me up for this.
Good summer game. That's called The Adventures of Elliot, the Millennium Tales. Then the third game that has a release date for this year is Phantom Blade Zero, action RPG. And the devs describe this one as Kung Fu Punk. And Max, I feel like Kung Fu Punk is a label that would garner your attention.
I'm into it. I'm also curious at what this is because I think a lot of people look at it and they think it's a Souls-like, and a lot of people look at it and think it's a straight action game like a Devil May Cry-like. And the devs have kind of been cagey about that, being like, no, it's neither. It's somewhere in the middle. It's something. It's some combination thereof. Looks incredible. I want to jump into this one and fight some big stuff. Kung Fu Punk sounds rad as hell, but I'm we get developers coming out and saying that, it's not comparable to any existing genre. It's its own thing, and there's always it's always going to have some DNA of other games. So I'm curious to see which direction it leans towards. If it's more of a Sekiro or more of a Elden Ring.
Yeah,
I got to play this for about 15 minutes at GDC last year, so almost a full year ago already, and it definitely. I'm more of a Ninja Gaiden like character action guy than a Souls-like guy. And to me, it definitely leaned more of the character action way. It's gorgeous, number one, and it was playing even a year ago. It was playing really well in my just initial quick hands on. So yeah, I'm super pumped for this one too.
It looks great. That one's out September 9th. Only PS5 and PC for now. Now, if we look a little bit further ahead, Ryan, we know that Fable's coming. They said autumn. I think that's what they said.
Yes.
So obviously not going to be around November 19th. But everyone, was really excited for this one after this last showing at the Developer Direct. I think the only sort of question mark that's hanging over this game is the fact that Playground Games, basically they've never made a game where you don't drive around in cars, I don't think.
True. Yeah. I mean, the one genuine area that you can worry about is combat, right? Is because for the exact reason you said, it's Playground, for as incredible as their track record is with the Forza Horizon series, they've never made a game where you have to hit stuff and interact with other characters in a very sort of direct physical way, or with your magic or your ranged weapons. So once we get to play this, we'll have hopefully that fear will be quashed, but everything else, they seem to have understood the assignment brilliantly with this game. I mean, it screams Fable in all the best of ways. Even Simon Cardy from IGN's UK team got a hold of Peter Molyneux, who of course was one of the original creative leads on the original version of Fable, and Molyneux said this made him cry in a good way, seeing this reveal that Fable lives on, and so even he was moved by it. This is probably my most anticipated non-Grand Theft Auto 6 game of the year. I'm really excited for this game.
And very notably, it's coming to PS5 alongside the Xbox release. So.
Yeah, and autumn, again, well, I think we talked about this after the developer direct, but basically means September or first half of October, because they're not going near GTA 6. Nobody will. Nobody should. So I think we'll probably get a concrete date for this at the Xbox showcase, would be my guess.
Mm-hmm. Okay, one that has no release window, I don't think, but I think it sounds very ambitious, is Atomic Heart 2. The first game got an 8 out of 10 from IGN, so there's already a great foundation there. And the Steam description says, the game immerses you in events for Atomic Heart 2. The game immerses you in events on a global scale and raises the bar for what an open-world action RPG can do. Developer Mundfish is transitioning to Unreal Engine 5 and actually collaborating with an architectural firm to design a massive city. The CEO, Robert Bagratuni, recently stated they want Atomic Heart 2 to be as visually impactful as the original Crysis was in 2007, and Mundfish has tripled staff since the first game was released. So, Max, did you play the first Atomic Heart?
I played a little bit of it. I'm interested in this one because it sounds like they're really, I mean, again, trying to be very ambitious visually, but it also mechanically looks like they're almost going in a more Fallout-shaped direction, whereas the first one was more of a BioShock, I felt like. They're not going to do Crysis again, because Crysis really only strikes once. But also that was the sort of debut of the CryEngine. This is how many Unreal Engine 5 games have come out at this point?
Yeah,
like this one looks gorgeous. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that's kind of maybe a little too high of expectations there. But this does look incredible. I'm dying to see what they do with a larger development staff. They also have that kind of multiplayer experience in the works that they showed off that looked like everyone fighting on a big cube. I'm very interested to see what they do with this, and take all the time they need.
It just looks like there's so much creativity being packed into this game. Definitely one of the biggest RPGs on the horizon, and one to watch, I think. Now, something completely different from Game Freak, Pokemon developer. They've got Beasts of Reincarnation. Game Freak is stepping way out of its comfort zone. This is they call it a one-person, one-dog action RPG built around demanding technical combat. It's on Unreal Engine 5. They're skipping the Switch 2 altogether. It's on PS5, Xbox, and PC. I don't know. Ryan, are you confident Game Freak can pivot away from Pokemon to technical, demanding combat?
I think I was really won over by what they showed off at the Xbox Developer Direct. Like, they announced this, they revealed this at the Xbox Showcase last year. And I was like, okay, yeah, that looks like it could be interesting. And then going a lot deeper into it at the Developer Direct, there seems to be a lot of meat on the bone here, and it's Game Pass day one, if I recall correctly. So if you're still subscribing, then you've got nothing to lose by giving it a shot.
Okay, that's Beasts of Reincarnation from Game Freak, coming later this year. There's also Control Resonant, which I believe is also expected this year, and Remedy is describing it as an action RPG, which would be a little bit of a departure.
We're starting to strain the we're doing that thing where everything's an RPG. I don't know. I would not think of this game as a role-playing game.
Well, the one glimpse we got of it is the protagonist whipping out a giant transforming hammer, which immediately conjures up the sort of the Souls-like point of view.
Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what they do with this, because I love that they're willing to pivot like this and try an entirely new genre. The first Control was I feel like very weird, but fairly straightforward third-person shooter. You had some physics abilities, and it was kind of a Metroidvania. And then, they expanded that universe a little bit with Alan Wake, which was a full pivot into survival horror. And now they're doing an action RPG in this universe too. Sure, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, it looks great. Call it an honorable mention or put an asterisk on it if you want, but Control Resonant is definitely one to watch. Looks very cool. One game that is definitely an RPG, though, is Divinity, the next game from Larian, follow-up from Baldur's Gate 3. Man, they had this debut trailer that leaves quite an impression on you that was debuted last month or in December. This one, I don't know that there's a lot much to discuss because Baldur's Gate 3 is considered by many to be one of the greatest games of all time. So I think everyone's just like, okay, well, making Divinity, that sounds great. We will see you when it's done. I don't know. Is there anything to elaborate on that, Ryan?
No, you've summed it up. I mean, it's exciting to get a new announcement from Larian, but then the realization sets in that, oh yeah, it's going to be a number of years before we're actually playing this game. Yeah. But that's okay, give them time, let them do their thing. But yes, you're correct, Eamon. They make perhaps the most actual disgusting game trailers, because I'm still scarred by the very first Baldur's Gate 3 trailer, which for anybody that's like, wait, what was that one? Go look it up. It's thoroughly gross, and this Divinity one was as well.
Yeah, they like the gross stuff. And I'm not even mad about it. Now, there's 3 upcoming games, upcoming RPGs that they're very, very closely related to each other. There's Star Wars: Fate of the Old Republic, which was just revealed in December as well. Casey Hudson returning to the Old Republic, doing a spiritual successor to Knights of the Old Republic. That's a long ways off. Their studio isn't even a year old yet, so that's coming. I'm excited, for whenever we get to learn more about that. But there's also the next Mass Effect from BioWare, which made Knights of the Old Republic and Mass Effect. I don't know. Max, it's been so long. It's been 13 years since Mass Effect 3. They had Dragon Age Origins. It was at the 2014 game. That was our game of the year that year. But ever since then, it's been stumbles.
Inquisition, I think.
Inquisition.
Yeah, it was Dragon Age Inquisition. You're right. But of course, they had Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda, and Anthem. And Dragon Age Veilguard, right? That one also, people weren't thrilled about that one either. So I don't know. It's been a long time since BioWare has had a hit. Now they're returning to Mass Effect. I don't even know who from the Mass Effect team is still there.
Mike Gamble is the lead on that. He's like one of the OGs. So our hope rests in his hands.
Max, you are I know you're a sci-fi fan. How are you feeling about whatever has become of Mass Effect?
I'll believe it when I see it. I feel like even leading up to Andromeda, it was the sort of the cadence of revealing stuff was you would get like a developer diary of people in an office talking about what they wanted to do, and you'd see like a glimpse of concept art on a monitor in the background. And yeah, I know that there are obviously talented people working at BioWare, and there are talented people who used to work at BioWare working on other things elsewhere. I'm skeptical that we can get a AAA, quadruple A Mass Effect game of the same scale and density of the previous ones under EA in the current sort of video game economy, like the current landscape, because it seems very much like the move for something that big is it's got to be an ongoing live service type of thing. Maybe they're going to shift and invest more heavily in single player experiences, but I can't help but feel like if they were really pushing the Mass Effect brand, we'd be hearing more about it more frequently.
Mm-hmm.
It's somewhat in EA's defense. They have Mass Effect Legendary Edition had no bullshit in it. Dead Space Remake and the 2 Respawn Star Wars Jedi games had no microtransactions, no nonsense. So there's there's a microcosm of optimism there.
No, that's true. I will say, I guess, speaking about RPGs, I think that looking at these games in general, a lot of these ones on this list is RPGs are they the hardest kind of game to make of substantially interesting type of game, because you're creating effectively a world and then a set of rules within the world and then a cast of characters, and you're writing not one story but a massive branching story. And There's a lot to handle there, and with all due respect to something like a Dead Space remake or a Star Wars action adventure game, those are fairly compact. Those are fairly lean in terms of the undertaking there. And I mean, you look at the Mass Effect trilogy, and it's this. People were understandably so attached and so passionate to that experience, and it's up to that standard of quality that people came to expect from BioWare. And I can't help but feel like a lot of the people who were integral to that work have since meandered off to go work on other Mass Effect shaped projects.
Yeah, speaking of Mass Effect shaped products, there's this game Exodus, which is the first game from Archetype Entertainment. It's owned by Wizards of the Coast, and it includes a lot of talent from BioWare, including the writer of KOTOR and the first two Mass Effect games. And this is the game that was revealed back in December 2023. It stars Matthew McConaughey in a significant role, and it feels very Mass Effect. It's coming to PS5, Xbox, and PC next year, 2027. I think there's a good pedigree here, but I think people probably just end up forgetting about this game, Ryan, because there just hasn't been a lot of beats, or preview beats around it. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, they probably also announced. I mean, I won't say too early, but maybe too early in terms of trying to get to sustain people's interest, like you were talking about earlier. But yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of the right people. I mean, I love the sort of interstellar type thing where you're apparently gonna make decisions, like intergalactic decisions, where that'll ripple thousands of years because of the time, distance, and space and all that stuff. So yeah, with Drew Karpyshyn writing this, the original writer of the Mass Effect trilogy, it does give me a lot of optimism. The cause for skepticism here would be that the development studio, to my knowledge, hasn't really shipped anything of this scope, is probably the best way to put it. So they're a bit unproven, maybe would be a fair way to put it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if we'll probably be getting this before Mass Effect 5. So maybe this can fill the Mass Effect-sized hole in our hearts.
Yeah, and I don't think this developer has shipped a game yet. I think this is they were formed and they've been working on this ever since. I don't know. Looks cool. Definitely have their work cut out for them creating a whole new sci-fi universe. Couple more games to round up. There's The Witcher 4, which I think, similar to Divinity, people are just ready for whenever a new Witcher game is ready to be played. Everyone's probably going to be on board. I think the bigger question is when. Like, when do we think maybe Witcher 4 might be ready? And Max, do you think this is going to be possibly a PlayStation 6 game?
Very possibly. CDPR has spoken a bit about this, and I think they gave kind of a cryptic, obtusely worded breakdown of when this will come out by. And I want to say they basically were like, we aim to have a trilogy of Witcher games out by some quarter. I think they said 2029 or something like that. Don't quote me on that, but it's seems like this game could be closer than we expect. I hope they learn their lesson from Cyberpunk 2077 and aren't launching it before it's ready. One thing working in this game's favor is that it's in Unreal 5 rather than the Red Engine, which means that they can staff up with people who are experienced working with this tech. Like, they know what they're doing. It's it's not this proprietary in-house secret recipe. And yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of that world fleshed out. They've got a lot of people know what to expect from a Witcher game. They're obviously going to expand on that, but it's the foundation has been laid for it. There was also talk of them doing an expansion to The Witcher 3 a decade later that would lead up to this. There were some rumors and leaks flying around about that, which would be really cool. It'd be kind of a neat way to sort of set a prologue for this. I would love it if CDPR basically got all their ducks in a row and could put out games more often than once a decade, because they're a phenomenal studio and they make some incredible stuff. And I mean, as indicated by the sales and active players of The Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk, like people love these games. So yeah, hopefully sooner than later.
This reveal trailer is a great bit of CGI animation also, by the way. This is a good one. Ryan, tell us about Clockwork Revolution, the time-bending steampunk first-person RPG from In Exile.
Yeah, we've seen it a couple times from Xbox showcases. And this one, I mean, we don't have a date for it yet, but my guess would be that it's next year. This year's lineup is already pretty full for Xbox, which is a sentence I've been waiting about a decade to say. So I don't think we can expect Clockwork Revolution this year, but this will be arguably the largest scoped project, probably the biggest budget project that InXile's ever done. I mean, they've been Brian Fargo and the team there. They've been a really phenomenal role-playing game studio for a long, long time. They revived Wasteland, which of course was the sort of precursor to Fallout. They've done a lot of great stuff over the years, and this one, another Unreal Engine game, and I believe it's first person. And this one is, it's got a lot of potential. I love the setting. I mean, I'm in with steampunk, like you've pretty much got me already. So it's kind of nice to have something that's not straight sci-fi or straight fantasy, even though those can both be great. But there's a little something different, a little something new, and yeah, hopefully this is one that we're playing next year.
And this one's only revealed for Xbox and PC at the moment, so it sounds like they'll maybe want to drip feed the release to PlayStation a little bit down the line. And finally, the meme game to include is The Elder Scrolls 6, which is just, what we're seeing right here, this 20-second little visual is the only thing that we've ever seen from this game. I think this was back in 2018 when we saw this, so going on 8 years now. I don't know. What do you think? Out of all the games we've just mentioned, Max, do you think The Elder Scrolls 6 is coming in the latest? Like after all these other games, maybe The Elder Scrolls 6 will come out.
Ooh, that's tough. Okay. Kind of cheap answer here. I think the full release of Divinity could be after.
Oh,
this.
Wow. Okay.
But I think that it's going to be I think they're going to do that same thing they did with Baldur's Gate 3, where people are going to be playing it for a few years before it's officially out.
Yep.
Yeah.
What ships first? Elder Scrolls 6, Star Wars Fate of the Old Republic, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake, or Divinity. You've got you could take some fun bets on this one.
Yeah. We're doing Mass Effect, and actually that's a good idea for our poll this week, Ryan. Which of those RPGs do you think is the furthest away or will be released first? Make sure to vote at IGN.com the day this episode goes live, and we'll share the results with you next episode. Do you want to be the very best like no one ever was? Streamline your journey to becoming a master trainer with Planet Pokemon. Choose your Pokemon, filter by type, ability, or game availability, then use the full team builder to assemble an unbeatable lineup. Plan out the optimal set of moves, items, and abilities. Play to your strengths by analyzing your team's resistances and vulnerabilities, or really maximize your Poke potential by digging into the stats of your EVs and IVs. And save multiple team builds for different strategies and different games. Plan your dream today at PokemonPlanet.com. And that's our show. Thank you to both Max and Ryan. Thank you to everyone working behind the scenes to make this show possible. My name is Damon. We'll be back next week with more of the latest gaming hardware news, and we'll see you then. This episode of Next Gen Console Watch was produced by Damon Hatfield, Nick Maillet, and Sam Claiborne. Damon is also the host, and Max Scoville and Ryan McCaffrey serve as regular panelists. Technical direction is by Nick Maillet, with technical production by Marian Franzen and Amir Akib. Audio engineering is handled by Amir Akib. Post-production editing is by Nick Maillet, and graphic design is by Justin Vachon. Next Gen Console Watch is an IGN production and part of the Geek Media Network.